So welcome back. Now that we've created the main shape of the blade, we're going to go ahead and make some adjustments to how it works. So the first thing we're going to do is we're going to go ahead and change the shading on this blade. So this area, the edges seem smooth and such. So what I'm going to go do is, if you go to edit mode, you're going to press 3 for faces. I'm going to click Alt and click on this edge right here that makes the row go upwards. So I will go ahead and do that. Good. As you can see, it selected the whole row. I'm going to right click and put shade smooth. And then I'm going to do the same for this one. Alt, click right on this edge. Shade smooth. And now if I turn off edit mode to object, now we should have some sort of smoothness. So we want to go ahead and adjust it so it isn't smooth throughout the whole, because as you can see, it's a bit of a blob right now. So to do that, I'm going to go ahead and go back to edit mode. And then clicking Alt, I'm going to click on this edge right here, Shift Alt to select 2 of these. As you can see, it selected some parts that I don't want, so I'm going to go ahead and deselect those by clicking Shift on that face and Shift on this face. And as you can see, now that I have both of those selected, Shift Alt to click on this one as well. It's good, good. And then I'm going to right click on that, shade flat. So now when you get out of edit mode into object mode, now you should have more of a semblance of a blade, but I think I need to do the same for some of these inner ones as well, because I think there's shading. So I'm going to go to edit mode, this, shade flat, and then to the top, shade flat. And hopefully that should do it. If not, it's good enough. The thing is, one of the things, I'll probably say this a billion times, that I don't like with Blender in relation to 3D Studio Max. In 3D Studio Max, you have a more control in terms of your surfaces. But so in Blender, it's either yes or no. So it's either going to be smooth, or if it's not smooth, that means you're going to have a lot of facets and it's going to look very faceted. So in this occasion, this is as best we can do, because that's just the way Blender works. So you can see right here, that's unsmooth, and you get these little facets. So it's something we have to find a way to work around. But anyway, now that we have this blade, I think we're happy with the look of this. So what are we going to do next? We're going to go ahead and extrude the pommel, or the part where that starts to make the blade. So I'm going to go ahead and, how am I going to start this? Okay, yes. I'm going to go ahead and go to edit mode. I'm going to select these 2 faces, hit X, delete faces. That's gone. I'm going to go to top view, or front view, sorry. And then I'm going to go ahead and extrude these edges right here to start to make the edge of the blade, or the pommel of the blade. So with press number 2 for edges, I'm going to hit Alt, selects all of these, and then I'm going to go hit E. I'm going to scale it kind of where it is, about a little right here, because this right here we're going to take, as you can see, what we're going to do is we're going to non-uniform scale this to kind of give it a little bit of thickness. So I'm going to go ahead and non-uniform scale, and in this view right here, scale it outwards a little bit like this, and then scale it on this axis a little bit like this. You're probably going to have to go to the top view, the front view, and make some adjustments to see what works best for you. So in this occasion, as you can see, there's a little bit of weirdness. So that weirdness can be fixed by rotating these axes. And then I'm going to go press 1 into vertice mode, select these right here, drag them over so they have a little bit of thickness to them, and these over so they have a little bit of thickness to them. Nope. Have to do this in X-ray mode because you're not going to be able to see, Unity, Blender is fucking with me today. I don't know why. There. Take that. See, in this one right here, we have this, that shape of the blade is kind of coming off on this. So we're going to go ahead and optimize this. So how are we going to do this? we're gonna be in vertex mode, and then go to options here and you make sure that auto merge is turned on. And that means when I move this vertex to where I'm gonna place it, it's gonna weld it together with the other one to optimize it. Then I'm gonna turn on snap right up here, the little magnet, and make sure vertex is on. And then when I go here, snap this to that. Now this means that this is just one vertex instead of two. So now that I've done that, I'm gonna go to the front view and I'm gonna go ahead, turn off snap, and take this and line this up. So now it kind of has the shape that I want for this particular element. So after that, I've done that, select these two vertices and then move them over, bring this one down because this is a little bit of a extrusion on the blade. And then after I've done that, that's good enough. I'm gonna hit 2 for edges, Alt to click all of them, and then I'm gonna hit E so I can extrude this outwards. As you can see, I'm gonna turn off X-ray mode. Now we kind of have a little bit of extrusion when it comes to the blade and such. So we're gonna go into front view. So the next part, what are we gonna do to this to make it a little bit more interesting? So let's go ahead and go to this perspective, and I'm gonna take these vertices. I'm gonna press 1, then Alt Z for 3D, and then I'm gonna take these right here and kind of move it so the blade has a little bit of like a more dynamic shape to it, like that. It's good. And then I'm gonna click out of X-ray mode by pressing Alt Z or Alt Z, and I'm gonna go ahead and press 2, shift and hold these two edges right here, and if you press J, oh, sorry. No, that's not it. No, it's not J, it's sorry. F, it fills it in. Select these two. F and fills it in. Now that's closed off because we're going to keep that as one whole element. The other parts, we're going to model it out of another shape and such when we get to that point. So what's going to be the next part? So we're going to go up to the front view like this. And then the next thing we're going to do now is make a few adjustments based on the shape of the blade. So in edit mode, I'm going to go to vertices, select these up top, kind of make sure X-ray's turned on, take these, bring it right here to where the blade meets, and right here to where the blade meets. Yeah, that's good. Do it like that. And then now that we have that nice shape to work with, now we're going to do some of the sword guards on this. So how do we do that? Exit and go into object mode and then save your file, Control S. And then I am going to go to Shift A, create a UVW sphere. As you can see, it's a little bit too big for my taste, so when you get to adjust these right here, first things first, take down the radius because it's going to be a small element. Yes. And then position wise, I'm going to go ahead and raise this because I'm going to line it up to more closely to what I want. Yes. You could also manually move it if you like, but at least like this, you know how to do it. So as you can see now, it's closely lined up to where I want this to be, but it's too many segments on this. So I'm going to go ahead and chop this down and make it 8 because the smaller you get with a shape, the better it is for it. So let's see how that looks. And then rings, I don't think I could use that much. So I'm going to go ahead and start chopping these down to, see, something like this. That's a pretty good low poly shape to start to work with. And then if you want to take a little bit more and do the final adjustment how it should be, as you can see, this starts to rotate it in the orientation, because what I'm going to do with the sphere, I'm going to take this element right here, these cap segments, and I'm going to extrude this to make the shape of that sword. So now that that's good, I'm happy with it. I'm going to just take it, move it a little bit. We don't need that anymore, and I'm going to go ahead and uniform this scale. Uniform scale this so it's a kind of scales on all elements. And then after I've done that, I'm going to go to edit mode, and press 3 to go to faces, select these caps right here. As you can see, turn off X-ray mode. Or, you know, more simply, I think if I just do Alt and click on these. No, that doesn't quite work with the same one with cap sections. Okay, so you're just going to have to just make a selection and select all of these. And hit Shift add the rest. Cool. From perspective, the next part you're going to do is you're going to hit E for extrude, and you're going to extrude this outwards. And you're going to do the same kind of like the blade. 2 and 3 extrusions, and then after you do that, you're going to make adjustments on your extrusions based, of course, lining up to the silhouette of the blade. So I'm going to go to 3D mode, and first things first, I'm going to go to Edge, hit Alt and click on this one. I have the whole thing selected, so I'm going to take this one, move it a little bit more here because you're going to have to start that taper, and I'm going to uniform scale this on every axis, so it's a little bit more slimmer where the section of this sword guard meets, and then do the same with this one. Alt click all of it, move it to more or less where I want it to be aligned. Right there, that's good. Rotate, and then uniform scale it by holding onto the white gizmo. And then this one right here. Let's see, how am I going to do this? Okay, so to make this easier, you know, this section right here, this cap, we're not going to need it, so I'm going to go into face mode or 3. Select all these, and once they're all selected, I don't need these now, so I'm going to go ahead and do X and delete these faces because we could just extrude the edges. Instead of having that there where we're going to have to adjust, go back to the front view, and again, Alt Z for X-ray view, and then I'm going to hit 2 to go to edge mode, Alt, select them all, rotate it, or move it first, and then rotate it into the right orientation of your sword. I'm going to scale it a tiny bit more. The same for this one, tiny bit more on this one. Alt click and then scale. And let's see, as you can see, this shape right here could use a little adjustments. It's been sort of misaligned a bit. So I'm going to take this, move it a little bit more center like that. And then I'm going to take this and uniform scale it so the shape kind of makes a little bit more sense. Okay, so now that I've adjusted that, Control Save, and then I'm going to go in edge mode and again hit Alt on this one right here, and with move selected, if you press E, as you can see, gives you the last final extrusion. And after you do the last extrusion, you just kind of see how it looks in relation to the rest of the mesh. So you can see that's not too shabby, kind of more or less fits. And then I'm just going to make a slight adjustment on this ring right here. So it kind of has more of a contour shape to it. So as you can see, now that that's done, that works out pretty good. And then we're going to go ahead and do the other side of the sword guard. So how do we do that? Simple, click on your shape, and we're going to duplicate it. But you know what? Before we duplicate it, let's go ahead and just fix all the shading on it so it looks nice. So we're going to go ahead and hit Alt. No, I think I could do it like this. Let's see. I'm going to go to face mode. If you hit Alt, Shift Alt, and Shift Alt, it gives you the whole selection for it, as you can see. And then you right click and put Shade Smooth. And since the way that's how Blender leaves, we're just going to leave this faceted like this, so it kind of have that sort of faceted look, like it's almost something purposely built onto the sword as well, like an edge blade or something. So now that we've got that, I'm going to go ahead and pause this video and stop it now because it's about the 15-minute mark. So when the next video, we're going to go ahead and duplicate that same element, rotate it to the other side, and then do the rest of the blade. See you soon.